Hi, and welcome to SMECO Connects. This is a podcast that we use here at SMECO to talk about the happenings and showcase some of our employees and talk about issues and what's happening here at the co-op. And my name is Tom Dennison. I typically am the co-host of the podcast. Our fearless leader, Sonia Cox, our president and CEO, wasn't able to attend today. So I'm filling in and we'll do the best that I can to keep our podcast going. And what a great day we have today. What a great episode we have. We have two individuals here from the customer service end of our business. We've done a number of these episodes where we've featured our linemen. We've had a number of other employees come in, but today is special because I think I have a very high degree of respect for the work that you all do in our contact center and in our customer service center. So without further ado, I'd like to just kind of turn it over to you two. We'll take it from there.
Sure. Thanks, Tom. Well, my name is Dan. I have worked in SMECO's customer care center, which is our contact center. So when you call on the phone, that's where you're going. I've been with SMECO for about 7 years now. Still in the contact center. Kind of moved up the ranks in there as far as like what we do, but more or less it's still the same. The customer has an issue that they need resolved and they call me to do so.
Nice. What's your last name, Dan?
Wallace.
Wallace. Dan Wallace. And where do you live, Dan?
I'm actually down in St. Mary's, right outside of Leonardtown.
And you've been with the co-op for 7 years?
Correct. Just over.
And you started, your first job was in the contact center, and then you've kind of, what's your title now?
So I am a CCR 1, Customer Care Representative 1. So what that really just means is experience to be able to set certain things without necessarily having to jump through as much red tape and assisting with training for newer representatives on the floor.
Very good. Kia.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. My name's Steward. I've been with SMECO for 11 years. I started in the call center, and now I'm in the customer service center, which is the regional services office where customers walk in to process payments.
And ask any other questions, right? I mean,
Yes.
they can walk in and, I mean, they can, talk to someone like you or your colleagues about service reliability. They can talk about new connection requests. Those types of issues. We're kind of a one-stop shop, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah, they come in, they process payments. If they experience any issues with tree trimmings or you need light repairs, they come in, we can assist with that. We also deal with customers that lose power due to storms.
Sure.
So they may come in and inquire about the next steps for that as well.
Yeah. And so you've been with the co-op 11 years, you said?
Yes.
So what, Kia, was the reason you decided to come to SMECO? What had you been working somewhere else previously and then you came here?
Yeah, so I actually lived in Charlotte Hall my whole life.
Okay.
I live in Waldorf now. I was working for Sam's Club in Waldorf.
Okay.
And I had a meeting with HR from here to bring benefits over to see if I can come over to one of the health fairs to offer Sam's Club memberships to employees here.
Okay.
The employees were so great and everyone was so nice and friendly. And I was like, hey, I can work there. I'm friendly. I can join them too. So I filled out an application and here I am 11 years later.
Wow. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
And I think it's helpful for everyone to realize the work that you all do. And I like to tell a quick story. I've been with SMECO for almost 20 years now. And when I first started, I was the contact center, call center, we called it back then, was in the basement of our executive building, right? I was on the 3rd floor. The contact center was on the 1st floor. And we had a rough storm. It was one that we had a lot of people out. It was a multiple day event. And I remember the Tammy Gardner, who was also on our podcast before, she said it would be a really good experience for me to go in and listen to some of the calls during a height of a storm, when calls are coming in and everything. And I did that, and it was, eye-opening is one way to describe it, but not to be too dramatic, but it life-changing for me as a SMECO employee, because we had tens of thousands of customers who were out, and the calls that were coming in ran the whole entire gamut, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were taking calls from folks who wanted to make a payment arrangement. Of course, ones who wanted to know when their power is coming on. And it was unbelievable, the variation of calls that we received. So I tell that story to explain the level of professionalism that you all have and dealing with our membership, and whether we have 20-some thousand outages or 30,000 outages, or it's a blue sky day and we don't have no outages, we're there for our members.
The day-to-day, that's one of the things I love most about the job, is it's a lot of the same processes, but it's never the exact same thing in the exact same order twice. I'll log in and my first call could be assisting someone with a payment. It could be someone they called in, they're excited, they just closed on a house, they need to put the service in their name. Or the polar opposite, their family member passed, they need to take over the service,
right,
help with the capital credits process, all of that. So it truly runs the gamut. I never know what it's going to be, and it keeps you on your toes and keeps you involved and active.
Well, what it also does is it explains the amount of training that you all have to go through to kind of understand every aspect of the co-op. So you may not know every single thing about it, but like I always say, enough to be dangerous. So, so Kia, and I assume that's sort of what you deal with every day too, right? You could be anything.
Yes, and that's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to move departments to the regional services, to get the other side of what we do. Because, when I first started in regional services, we handled all of the new construction requests. So in dealing with the electricians, so to get it to see how it worked on that side actually made me understand it more as a whole. So with us in the service department, we do handle the customers that come in.
Mm-hmm.
They come in, they process their payments, they pay for new construction jobs. They come in and they are in grief, dealing with loss of loved ones. So we deal with the face-to-face of the customers coming in and dealing with capital credits. And we also deal with other departments as well. We deal behind the scenes with billing. We deal with our servicemen. We deal with
new construction. I'm sure if somebody comes in and says, "Hey, when I'm just building a new house, I need to know when I can get my service." Sometimes they may not know and they have to come in.
Yes, and when they come in, we deal with the customer as well as the construction department,
sure,
to kind of get a gauge on when this planned start date, when will their job be ready, so that we can put them at ease.
Nice. Yeah. And a lot of times, I know for me personally, I know a number of people, they like to have the face-to-face interaction, and they also like to hear a voice on the other end, right? So explain a little bit about that, Dan, from your experience. When people, they call in and they may have to go through the prompts,
sure,
but they wind up with someone like you on the other end. Is that something you hear about from people? They appreciate the fact that they can call someone?
Absolutely. The customer experience, in my experience, I'm here at least once a day. I'm glad I was able to finally get through to somebody or talk to a person,
Right,
about what I have going on. I mean, technology is great and it's come a long way. And we've come a long way with that technology to where the vast majority of people who don't necessarily need that level of assistance can do their thing.
Sure.
But we're still here for the people who do, right? When, I had an elderly customer not too long ago who they were having issues with, the buttons, right? So they wanted to get their balance. They wanted to know, hey, when is my bill due? I didn't get my bill this month, postal service, whatever. And, just having that other person on the other side to be able to answer that question is huge for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. And plus, I mean, not only do they talk to you, but if you don't know the answer, you can get them to the right person.
Absolutely.
And that's what most people want, right? I mean, they just want to know if they have an issue that they can talk to the right person and explain what's going on. And we do our best to solve it.
Absolutely.
And that's always been a core aspect of SMECO is to, serve our membership. But there's also regulatory rules around our customer service. Why don't you kind of talk a little bit about the rules that we have in terms of how many calls are in the queue and answering them properly and in a timely manner, and then kind of the follow-up surveys that go along with it?
Sure. So when a call comes into the call center, we want to answer those calls as quickly as possible. We're required to meet a certain percentage of calls that reach us answered within 30 seconds. And we have met those metrics consistently for a while now.
It's great.
The technology has definitely evolved to help us with that, along with, adequate staffing, having people available when we know that there's going to be a higher call volume, like when we know storms are coming through, something that's going to potentially have an impact on our customers. We make sure that we have enough people here to answer the phones in that timely manner. So being able to answer those calls and being able to have the coverage to where we don't have people waiting in queue. If we have 3, 4, 5 people on hold waiting to talk to somebody, that's not good. We do our best to make sure that we have someone available and that no one is waiting an excessive amount of time to get through to us.
Well, not only that, and I mean, how many calls are in the queue because you can see them on your screen, but I've been over there, and it's on the scoreboard, I call it. There's a board up there that says how many calls are in queue and how, the time and all that. I mean, it's a big deal.
Absolutely. It's like our little stock ticker up there. And if it
starts
blinking red, then we know we need to, step it up. Thankfully, it hasn't been blinking red in a while. But
that's a good thing.
It gives us all those averages. And, we want to make sure that we're hitting those numbers, that we don't have people waiting. I've always appreciated about SMECO, with the focus being customer service, that, unlike some other companies that you may speak to, those representatives are on a time crunch too, right?
Sure.
We're told quality over quantity, and we've made the steps to be able to do that. Again, the evolution of the technology, if 10 people need to make a payment and 8 of them can use the automated system, then I can spend the time with those 2 people who might need some assistance because they're having a problem with being able to do so.
That's great.
And that helps us, assist more customers than we would otherwise.
You said you grew up in Charlotte Hall and you live in Waldorf. That's one thing I think that it's important for people to realize is that we live here.
Right.
We work here. We're part of the community. And so we're all trying to pull on the rope the same way. So in that aspect of your job, do you kind of take pride in that, and that you're trying to kind of help people?
I do. And I do like when customers within the community come in and they're like, oh, hey, hi, Kia. It's been a long time since I've seen you. I've seen teachers that
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've come in and they're like, oh my gosh, you look the same. Like, thank you. But yes, it's really a good thing, just to be able to have customers, even when they come in and they're a little frustrated and they leave and you're able to make their day, that's what it's about for us. Like,
Absolutely.
When you come in, we want you to have that pleasant experience. We want to handle, each request that comes through the door or each customer that comes through the door so that it's a one visit resolution.
Sure.
Just take care of them as they come in so that they don't have to call back in or, come back in repeatedly. That's the goal.
Well, and I know that part of my job is I work in Annapolis and I'm a registered lobbyist and I deal with all kinds of regulatory issues and things. And when it comes to like questions about SMECO, when, it's been such a big push about the cost of electricity and helping people get through high bills and things, my first message is always call us. Yes. Call us ahead of time before, heaven forbid, you get to that disconnect notice and that process. So right. Have you noticed, Dan, and we're in the heat of summer right now.
Absolutely.
Do you deal with, is that kind of like the highest volume related call right now is kind of working through high bills?
Definitely. Right now, that is the majority of the calls that, I see over the course of a day is, why is my bill so high? And being able to not only answer that question, but answer it in such a way that the customer understands what they're seeing on the bill.
Right.
Because 9 times out of 10, once we're able to go through their usage, how to use the account manager as a tool to look at their usage and look at it in as close to real time as we can get right now, to see what's happening in their home and understanding the relationship that things like their HVAC system have with the outside temperature. I hear from customers all the time, the first thing they say is, my bill has gone up, but I'm doing nothing different.
Correct.
And my first reaction to that is, that's probably why you're seeing an increase, because you have to be able to roll with those changes, right? You have to be able to take the step back and see what's happening in your home. And a lot of these things are out of sight, out of mind. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to think about it until you get that bill that's, $200 higher than last month's.
Well, yeah. And I know the conversations I've had, whether it's been at my daughter's swim meet or at my other daughter's softball game or in the grocery store, you have to be able to try to personalize what's going on with that customer member. And I think my message has always been, energy prices are higher now than they were 2 years ago, last year. And then secondly, talk about account manager. I mean, I work at SMECO. I understand account manager. Many people don't. Mm-hmm. Right. But the fact that you can go online and see what your usage is in increments as frequently as 15 minutes.
Yep, 15 minutes. And I believe usually you can get up to the last business day.
Yeah.
So it's, as close to real time as we can get it.
and I love the fact that you can look at the cold days and see how that directly impacts the amount of electricity you use.
Gauge.
Absolutely.
And that's a tool that I think is tremendously helpful for people especially when we're in the dead of winter, like the polar vortex that we've had to go through, that they can go on to that account manager and do that. So Kia, for you, is that something that you push people towards whenever they come in?
Yeah, absolutely. When they come in and they have the high bill complaints, that's one of the main tools that we use. It's really nice to show them the visual of why your electricity is peaking.
Right.
And a lot of times during the winters, it's very easy, especially like the hours that they're thinking when they are asleep, the usage is spiking, but it's not because you're using anything. It's because your HVAC system, like Dan was saying. So you can actually show them that. You can show them the spikes throughout the day.
Yes.
And it just makes explaining the high bills so much easier to them.
Yeah, it's oftentimes not a good story, but at least it's an understanding.
Yes.
You can kind of see what's driving it.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can also help a customer determine if there is a problem at their property.
Yes.
Exactly.
I did have a situation once where a customer advised, hey, my bill is tremendous right now. We went through all the analytics and I was able to see, well, what happened on this day because their usage skyrocketed. Like, well, we had a basement flood. We had some people come in and they had been running these big fans and all this other stuff with all of the recovery. And I'm like, okay. And they left on Monday, right? Yeah. How did you know that? Because I can see your usage.
Right.
Alternatively, HVAC system issues, when you start seeing those lines increase and not go down when they should. We can't see exactly what's using it because we're only measuring what comes through the meter.
Sure.
But when all of those trends are not lining up the way they should, it's easy to be able to recommend to a customer, hey, you may want to have your HVAC or your water heater checked out because, again, I can't confirm it. You're going to have other eyes on it.
There's something going on.
But something is wrong.
Right.
And this is a place to start looking.
Yeah, I think that's a huge help for people to kind of point them in the right direction. If you had to tell someone why it might be good to come to work for SMECO, the contact center is a high turnover place. It's an entry level job, but it's also a job that you can use to, go up further in the company. So if you were to, tell somebody who might be interested in coming to work for us, what would your sales pitch be?
Our customer care center it's flexible. It's fast paced. You never know what you're going to get. It keeps you on your feet all day, or proverbial feet all day, right on your toes. The work can be very satisfying when you actually help somebody and you can tell, you hear the relief just ooze out of them when you've helped them with, I can't make my payment on time this month, or, why is my bill as high as it is? Things of that nature. But it's also, as Kia can attest to, it's a foot in the door. You mentioned that it is a high turnover position, but that's not because of the fact that the job is particularly difficult or overly challenging, or is the dreaded call center job. Most of the people who leave the contact center leave to go elsewhere in SMECO.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they move on to bigger and better things, for them within the company.
Yeah, that's great. How about you, Kia?
I agree exactly with what Dan said, especially with me. I started in the call center.
You actually helped train me.
And I moved to regional services to learn something new. And I mean, the doors of opportunity to move to different departments is pretty much limitless in here. So, I mean, in our department, you have a friendly smile that can be used when you come in the office or over the phone, because you can
hear a smile.
Hear a smile as well. This is definitely the job for you.
Well, no, and I think that's such a good thing for people to know that, yes, there are difficult calls. Yes, there are challenging times during the middle of an outage when we have tens of thousands of people without power. But I think there's a certain teamwork and fellowship that goes on in the contact center that I've seen as not necessarily being a member in there, but just kind of coming in, and I love checking out the flow in there. And I've gone in there, like I said, on blue sky days, and it's very level. I've also gone in there on days when we have lots of outages, and the level is always there. No one's running around with their hair on fire. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Everything's, there's a system, there's a process, and there's a professionalism that I think goes on in there that is a testament to you all and your colleagues. So is there anything that I left out? Anything you'd like to talk about before we end?
I don't have anything.
I think we touched base on pretty much all the high points. Yeah.
Wow.
We're here. We're the ears of the cooperative. I like to think our linemen are the eyes and hands, and we're the ears. We don't know it unless the customer tells us.
Exactly.
So if you have a problem, tell us.
That's
Absolutely.
great. It's a great message.
Absolutely.
Kia, Dan, thank you. Thank you for working here. Thank you for doing what you do, and thank you for being on this podcast. It's been great.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.